Hi there. I'm just today going to do a short video which is actually in relation to a video that I did 3.5 to 4 months ago now. That was this video here. It was on the subject of divorce and remarriage, how divorce and remarriage is adultery unless the previous partner, the spouse, has died. Now, if you've not watched that video, then you're probably better to watch that video before you watch this one, okay? Okay, now assuming that you've watched that video, I've made a template here to kind of go over what I mentioned in the video to give you a better idea, a better outlook or overlook on it. Now, one thing that I did not establish in the video was that we are under the covenant of the New Testament, okay? And it's only the New Testament that applies to where we're at today in the here and the now. In Hebrews 8 verses 6 and 7, it talks about Jesus Christ, how he is the mediator of a better covenant, and that the first covenant had been faultless, then there should be no place sought for the second one. Now obviously we are under the covenant of the second one, because he had made the first old. Now that which decayeth and waxeth old is ready to vanish away. So the old covenant is done away with. The question is, what was the old covenant? Exodus 34:28 and Deuteronomy 4:13, excuse me, I beg your pardon. And he wrote upon the tables the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. And he declared unto you his covenant, which he commanded you to perform, even 10 commandments. So the answer was the 10 commandments, basically the old Levitical law, the statutes and the commandments that God established with Moses at Mount Sinai. Okay, so if anyone's wants to bring up the topic of the Old Testament or how things were back then, I'm not interested, okay? I'm only interested in what the New Testament says, because this is where we're at just now, okay? Now the first thing one of the things I established rather in the video was that the marriage begins at the engagement stage. It does not begin here. Now, a lot of people, most people, almost everybody today believes that the marriage begins when the man and the woman walk down the aisle. A man and a woman, by the way, not a woman and a woman or a man and a man. When a man and a woman walk down the aisle, they say their vows, in sickness and in health, till death do you part. I do, you may kiss the bride. That's when the marriage is fully consummated. It does not begin at this point. It begins further back when they become engaged. Now, in Matthew chapter 1 verses 18 to 19 and in Luke chapter 2 verse 5, it was established that while Joseph and Mary were engaged to each other, were espoused, they were both husband and wife. And in Luke, 2 Corinthians 11:2, it tells us that we are engaged to Jesus. And the marriage between Christ and the church only becomes fully consummated at the end of the tribulation. Revelation chapter 19 verses 6 to 9, or read it right through to 21. And it actually confirms that the marriage of Christ and the church takes place when the beast and the false prophet are thrown into the lake of fire, which is at the end of the tribulation. But fornication, which was mentioned in Matthew 5:32, was the exception within the marriage, and it is between the engagement stage and when the marriage is fully consummated, because 1 Corinthians chapter 7 1 to 2 told us how to avoid fornication, and to avoid it, it said, let every man have his own wife and let every woman have her own husband. That's basically fully consummating the marriage. So after this point, it's only death that breaks the marriage, which is why the marriage of Christ and the church is permanent, because Revelation chapter 21 Verse 4 says, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death. Okay? Simple as that. Now, if you've got a married man and a woman, at this point, after the marriage has been fully consummated, and let's just bring up a scenario here. Say the man is physically abusing the woman, both mentally and physically, and she leaves the marriage. She's entitled to leave that marriage, but she cannot remarry, only until he dies. Or if, say, he was to walk away from her, just leave the marriage, and she did all she could to try and save the marriage, to try and reconcile the marriage, and he'll have nothing to do with her, she is still not free to remarry. It's only when he dies, and vice versa, only when she dies is he free to remarry. Only death breaks the marriage after it's fully consummated. It's as simple as that. I know a lot of people are not going to like that, and it's going to stir a lot of people up the wrong way. I don't care. I'm sorry. That's what the Word of God says. I do sympathise, but that's what the Word of God says. Now, also, at the beginning of the video that I did 3 to 4 months ago, I mentioned my cousin's website. Where is it? I beg your pardon. Here it is here. This is his YouTube channel if you want to check it out. Sound Biblical Doctrine. I'm actually going to upload one of his videos on the topic of once saved, always saved. Because at the beginning of the video, not this video that I'm doing just now, but the previous one I was talking about, I mentioned how I'd done a video on once saved, always saved. Well, I've removed that from my YouTube channel, not because I've changed my stance on once saved, always saved. I changed it, took it down because it was not a well-balanced video. But my cousin's done one once saved, always saved video, and on temporal salvation as well, which is a much better balanced video, and you'll get a lot more from watching his one than you will with mine. Very similar to the video that I uploaded regarding why the King James Version is the best Bible and is God's preserved word. You'll get a lot more from these videos than if I were to do a video on them, okay? Don't be like Proverbs 18:13. He that answereth a matter before he heareth it, it is folly and shame unto him. Okay? I hope that helped, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you when I see you. Okay?